Hi, how is going? Today I want to show you how to destroy Sicilian Kan variation based on one of the recent games that I played against the woman FIDE master, and I think she is much better than her current title. So it starts with this moves e4 c5 and knight f3, knight c6, d4 takes, and then this is the Kan variation. What does it mean? Pawn e6 means that if I put the knight on c3, she will pin it, and I put anyway. What you should do, the setup in this game is that your bishop should take care of, or the setup that I know is that your bishop should take care of your knight and d4, because later your other bishop should take care of the pawn, e-pawn. And why this is happening, let's see in few moves. Okay, this is the setup that I'm talking about at this moment. Notice that my knight is pinned by his bishop, by her bishop, and if wasn't my bishop on d3, she could grab my pawn on e4. But to put the bishop on d3, I had to take care of my knight on d4. For that reason, I put the bishop on e3. So this is a setup that if you want to play, you should know it. And these are the reasons that you do that. You proceed like that. Of course, you can retreat the knight, and that will be another story. It's not so aggressive. If you don't retrieve the knight, then you have to play bishop e3, take care of the knight, and f4 is an aggressive move that I like. It's not necessarily the best move. And at this moment, for example, it's possible, it's tempting to take, let me go to self-analysis. It's very tempting to take this one. Seems that after takes is a pawn up, but as you can see, it's not a pawn up, because we give up an exchange at least. It's much worse than that. So it's tempting, and some people take the knight, and then just after taking the knight, they realize that they cannot take the f4 pawn. So let's go back to the game. So I push f4 directly, and then she played knight f6. This is a natural move. She wants to castle, but it's almost impossible to castle in this situation. We will see it in a second. I increased my defense on e-pawn, and also I was thinking what to do. It was not just increasing my e-pawn defense. Why I increased this defense, first let me tell you. It's not just defending the e-pawn. First of all, developing queen, putting it in a better square that has access to more squares around it. Before that, in the back rank, didn't have access to any lines, but now it has access to more lines and diagonals. Also, at some point, black will play b5 and places the bishop, fianchetto the bishop on b7. When the bishop is fianchettoed, there is always a threat to take on e4. So I increase the defensive force on e4, also develop the queen and put it in a better square. Another idea is that maybe I want to push the pawns and destroy the king side, and this is very dangerous for black. For that reason, black doesn't castle so quickly. So black said that, okay, let's strike on the center and open up the game before anything happens. I said no thanks. You have a very weak king side, and I want to keep the center closed because I want to attack your king side. And I may push g4, f4, f5, and so on. So here she retreated the knight. She retreated the knight, and in my opinion, she didn't retreat it in a good square. But there wasn't any good square for the knight. She could have put it backward. Anyways, and at this moment, she played knight c5. You know why? She played knight c5. Why moving the knight twice? If she was doing something else, for example, she could have played some other moves as well, right? But if she was doing something nonsense, then this pawn was gunner. It wasn't just like it's gunner because it is pinned by queen, and you cannot, for example, counterattack me because I take the queen with check. You should move the queen, and wherever you move, next time I will grab this pawn as well, and it's game over. So she did a wise move, moved the knight to a better square. Here I castle. Maybe engine doesn't like it. As you can see, black cannot castle because once it castle, I take the h pawn with the queen and it's checkmate. The bishop on d3 is too strong. For exactly that reason, black takes on this bishop. At this moment, what could I do? I did take the bishop, the knight directly, but engine doesn't like this move. I believe engine says that, for example, first I have to take this knight. That's good, but it was, in my opinion, a slow. Engine says that first take the c6 knight because after some combination I will lose the knight, but she will lose a right to castle, and she should be very careful for every single move because any moment I may pin his queen or checkmate her. So I thought about it, whether it's worth to lose the knight. And let me show you quickly how I lose the knight if I take with the pawn. If I take with the pawn, she plays there, and I cannot defend the knight here anymore. For example, this is not a defensive force because adds queen there and is gunner. So as engine suggests, says that go there, she takes, I take, then she pushes. She pushes, then no matter which knight you move, one of the knight, choose one of them, arbitrarily move there and there with check. And see what engine suggests. Engine suggests king should go to f8. Same diagonal, same line as my rook. Any other move is bad. This is bad, of course. This is very bad, right? This is also bad. So you see it's very forcing line, and white is doing very good. Even though it is -1 here, it's according to engine, and it's a piece down, but black is playing with 2 rook less, and black bishop is not as so active. It controls some places but not so active, and also black has knight and queen, and knight and queen are relatively active, but queen is very passive. And yeah, what white, all pieces of white are in play, even though it has 1 knight less, and if you count on the board, but it has all of its pieces are active, but black's 2 rooks are inactive. And if white plays dynamic, then most likely white wins, and especially in blitz you don't risk that. So she also didn't do that. She didn't go for this variation to win a knight, because after that check there was no good way to defend. Instead she pinned with the queen, and this was a big mistake. She said that, okay, first I add queen, then I add bishop, because if I add queen, I don't know why she added queen first, because anyways I will make my move. And her idea was that after this push she win a piece, but this was a miscalculation. This was a bad miscalculation, because first of all I take this pawn with check, and then what can the king do? King cannot come close to. Now let me go show you to in analysis. King cannot come close here. It's super dangerous. Any move is good for white. Even you can see it. Even engine says this one is good. I don't know how this one wins, but my first thought was that I will play this move, because if, for example, if she do something crazy like taking this one, then I go there. She cannot do anything, especially if she come here. I fork his her queen, so she has to stay backward. But still, I know I have an active knight, so my knight jump hops in and attacks the queen. And what can she do if she goes back with the queen? Then this is a check. I'm winning the exchange and a game. I mean, the queen comes here as oh sorry, and the game the queen is nearby, and everything is falling apart here. Yeah, it's not the 100% win at this moment. She doesn't have any good move, right? And everything is falling apart. So what happened was that she didn't come to this side on diagonal. She knew that this queen h6 is very dangerous anyway, and it's full of possible tactical challenges. So what she did was, is it just escape? But at this moment, I saved the bishop. I moved backward. She cannot capture my knight. I don't know what engine suggests at this moment. I think I had a better move. No, engine suggests exactly that move. Yeah, and the best move was retreating bishop. Notice that she cannot take my knight, because if she take, I take the queen. So she retreats the queen to be able to take my knight, but that's a little bit too late. And my knight also hops in, and she didn't know what to do. Again, she has a one rook less. The a rook is not useful at all. So, but my both rooks are in open line, are connected, and in the back rank they can attack to his queen. She has one active rook, and she used it. And this is one of phenomenon that you see very often, that if the opponent doesn't have many active pieces, they don't know what to do. They do bad moves. So I took that pawn attacking the rook. She defends the rook, but I increased the attack. This knight came to the center for a good reason, and she tried to save the knight, save the rook, but the my rook's attacking her queen, and she had no good way to defend the queen except running away. I mean, she had two different squares, three different squares. Like b8 was very passive, right? b6 sounds safe, and b5 a5 was also passive, and also not so good, because by some pawn push I could put it backward. Also, she was losing the d pawn. So she said that okay, I will go to b6, defend the b pawn, and everything is fine. I said no, I want this b pawn, d pawn is mine, because if I say check, your king is in short of a squares, and it's in a very bad position. She tries to defend the pawn, but this doesn't help her, and I finally deliver my check. Notice that this queen is in a very bad spot. Queen on b6 is under immense pressure, and next move I'm going to make a discovery check, because king cannot escape too far. And notice that king couldn't go to e8 because knights are blocking e8. So she ran into the discovery check and give up the queen and give up the bishop and give up the rook, and I attacked the bishop at the end, and this was a classic mate. I took the pawn attacking the bishop and the rook. She either should save them by playing rook c8, very passive, or just take the knight. She took the knight, and I delivered checkmate. This was a very interesting game. The only thing I want you to take from it is this setup this battery, bishop battery at d3, attacking the h pawn. This is a setup that I think Michail Tal was very fan of it. Also moves like queen g5, g4, queen h3. These are possible moves, and also when queen is on h5, it pins the king, and there's always this battery that knight takes e6 pawn, and white opens the black's king side. So remembering this, and you never worry about giving up the knight and doubling your pawn. Your b pawn takes the bishop at c3. So doubling pawns and giving up a knight is not important, especially that the knight at c3 is not doing anything as long as the position is closed. And as long as pawns are preventing knight from moving. So currently knight doesn't have any good square to move, so if she take it is fine. So that was my game. I hope you enjoyed and you got something out of it. See you next time.